see how this goes. Hello and welcome to another episode of the GAN Gym podcast. Today is a special one because we have our first guest, Antrim under 20 footballer, St Gall senior footballer, and owner of Eoghan Mccabe's Performance Academy.
Yeah.
We have Eoghan Mccabe. Eoghan, thanks for coming down.
Thanks for having me, Austin. How are we?
Not too bad. It's good getting you down, good getting a guest as well. It's much easier to talk to someone else and talking about yourself for the whole time. How was the journey down?
Wasn't too bad. Smooth enough on the roads. Once I get past the I'm lost, different word like, but
different
not too bad. Got there in the end.
So you're playing for St Gall's, isn't it?
Yes, I'm indeed. St Gall seniors. Yeah.
What sort of stage is that now? You've come to championship.
Just wrapped up the league there on Monday night, so we're our last league game. We're coming up the championship in 2 weeks' time now, so everything's sort of geared towards that now.
Yeah.
Yep.
How are you set for it?
Feeling alright. It's probably wide open the past couple of years as well, and this year's probably no different, so could be a bit of competition there, keeps it interesting.
Yeah. Who's along with yourselves, who's the kind of big names in terms of football?
Probably about 5 or 6 teams there. Cargan, Craig and Namdar, St John's. Probably keep a bit of competition there.
And it'll all be fairly tight hold then?
You would like to think so anyway, yeah. It's last year from the kick of the ball between us and the Cargan, it's probably seen the video everywhere. Like.
And you've been playing in the entire year. You've been playing half-back, cornerback, or whereabouts you playing?
Been between half forward and half back. It's just sort of the middle road, up and down. Just get the ball, give it to the shooters, like at the end of the business.
Yeah, the athlete up and down the pitch.
Trying to be anyway.
And you were playing for Antrim under 20s this year. Were you playing similar position for them?
Yeah, under 20s playing centre half back most of the year. So.
Much difference between them two positions, or are you playing similar kind of roles?
The managers try and tell me to do something different, but no, we're jumping. Similar enough up and down when you can, but obviously you're defending your priority, like, but get up whenever you can. Try to chip in if you're not one, not two.
And what's the difference like between the Antrim and the 20s and like seniors for St Gall's? Is it the same level? Is it different, or did you notice any differences in it?
I think there's differences on some rallies, like obviously you're go down the 20s, you're playing with boys your own age. It's a good crack getting to play with boys from other clubs too. It's sort of different crack that you'd have with your club. You're with your club mates a couple of years, you're with them all the time, but just the boys the county is a different bit of crack, like, and it's just different playing football with them, and it's, I don't know, it's a bit hard to explain, but it's good crack anyway. Enjoy it.
And I know you played a wee bit for the seniors last year. Did you think there was much of a difference between, is there much of a jump between club level and county level?
I think there is. Definitely the standards you're playing at, you sort of, club games you might be able to sort of come in and out of a game. At county level it's relentless, like you're non-stop for the 70 minutes. And then the other side is just the commitment side of things too. You're there maybe 4 or 5 days a week, and it's away from the training as well. You have to be doing your own stuff to keep up the pace, and probably wasn't ready for it completely. And then I sort of found that out.
In what way? Just like physically, or?
Physically, I thought it was alright, but the running side of things is a lot different. You can be as strong as you want, but if you're not able to get about the pitch, then you'll be found out really quick. I think just the training load too, probably a bit of a jump up, and then probably wasn't really looking after nutrition as well. Just sort of thinking, right, I'm doing all this training, I can eat all this and I'll burn off alright, which just isn't the case, like. You have to look after all areas, not just the training side of things.
And is like whenever you're playing for those county setups, is it the standards are so much higher, like you haven't had certain numbers in the game and that kind of thing, or is it not maybe as strict as that?
No, it would be. It was a lot of numbers based, but at the same time, it's like if you're hitting the numbers but you're not doing anything with the ball, then it's sort of useless. Like, but a lot of it was based around numbers and targets to hit, and just sort of if you're working hard enough and you're doing what you should be doing, then the numbers should sort of look after themselves, that sort of thing. But like if you're coming on, say, playing 50 minutes a week, like you're obviously not going to be hitting the numbers. You have to do your top ups, that sort of thing.
Do you think that a lot of club teams are maybe a wee bit too obsessed with numbers? Like,
Definitely, yeah.
it's nearly more so how much you run rather than the quality of it.
Yeah, big time. Even I have my own GPS unit myself, and when I first got it, I definitely know it was something in my head. It's like, right, that's on my back, right? How fast can I run, or how far can I run, or what sort of distance am I covering? But if you're too focused on that, then, like I said, if you're not doing anything with the ball, then it sort of defeats the purpose of having it. It's sort of there to complement your game rather than be the main part of your game.
Yeah, I think that's it. Like, you hear a lot of coaches as well, like, will want to get just a GPS just to see who's running the most, but it's trying to figure out. Like, I actually think it's nearly more useful for training, you know, determining your loads each week, but I think a lot of people are still slow to come to that point.
I think that's you hit the nail on the head right there. Like, if you're, say you're coming off the back of a game and you've put in a serious shift, like maybe you should dial training back a wee bit during the week, or if you've had a heavy training week, maybe go a wee bit later. I think that's what it should be used for, whereas it's just always right, push a bit more, hit these numbers, and it nearly becomes you become a number.
That's it. Like, I think that's one of the things I seen up at Derry this year was that it wasn't so much about in the game, like, you have to be running 10k, you have to be doing that. There's an element to that, but it's more so in the run each week, whereas like week 1 you're hitting X amount of distance, week 2 is X, and I think the more you can get to that, the more useful the GPS actually becomes. Like,
definitely.
But I think a lot of teams are slow to get to that point. Like,
I think it's they just throw it in, you're like, right, we'll have this new thing, everything has to be run through it. Like, obviously it probably costs a few quid to get out a full team with them, so you want to get the most out of them, but I think it's nearly overkill then when you do start using them.
I think it is. I think it's something that club teams will go through different phases. Like, there's obviously the phase of teams a while back where they jumped into strength condition. It was like, do whatever. So maybe a team were doing from kettlebells here, and a team that were doing CrossFit here, and a team that were doing something else there. But I think it takes people a while to figure out the best way to use these things.
That's it.
Have you been do you do much strength condition at St. Paul's, or is it all individualised? Or
mainly individualised. At the start of the year we were in No Limits. We did a bit over the winter, and then I was writing a bit of the programme out, just firing on the regular sheets, firing on the WhatsApp group, and boys were getting it done. But it is encouraged to do it. Like, there would be a lot of boys would sort of have their own wee groups who would go together for sessions. But a lot of the time it is up to yourself, and it's just sort of put on the player. And I think players know these days if you're not doing it, you will be left behind. Like, so.
Yeah, and you were actually programming a bit of it then for the lads.
A bit of it, at the start of the year, and then just sort of came away from it. Things were a bit busy.
Yeah,
I probably let it slide a wee bit. Like, so.
Takes a lot of time too to do it, and it can be a wee bit frustrating. Like, and then with Antrim, were you doing a lot of strength conditioning work as well?
With the seniors we were, Fitting Devlin from the Loop was in this. He did a lot of work with us. A lot of it was mainly, and we were having this conversation last week about we're doing a lot more sprint work. And then just sort of ticking the boxes in the gym. But, so he did have that was probably my eye opener, realising that everything's not so much gym related, and like I said, you need to be up and down the pitch. So it makes sense to spend more time doing that sort of things.
I think, like we were chatting about it last week, you kind of coming now full circle and thinking how important is the gym to everything. And it's kind of a weird one, because a couple of years ago I would have been very much like, you have to get stronger. If you're getting stronger, you'll be better. But now it's kind of like, how much does that translate over, and how much is it needed?
That's it. I think there's no question it's important, but it's like up until a certain point, like how much. We're talking about like strength levels. If say you're hitting your standard strength targets, you're coming up to near 1.5 to 2.5 times your body weight, and say your squat or your deadlift, your bench press and body weight, like, yes, that's going to be beneficial. It'll make you robust, it'll get you stronger, apply more force, all that sort of stuff. But just how much more are you going to get out of an extra couple of kilo in your squat or your deadlift? Like, how much will it really transfer over?
And I think too, when you look at it, provided you have those kind of certain numbers hit, probably more conditioning work, sprint work is going to give you a much bigger percentage increase to your performance than strength work will.
That's it.
But I think it's trying to find that line, because you have to get yourself up to a certain point, I think.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a baseline you have to be at. But Keir ran a flat, the rugby strength coach, he always talks about being a PhD in your sport. He says that'll always look after everything, but I think after that it's sort of speed kills and everything else just to cover your bases. Like, I think there's throw out everything that's not needed and it's only there for ticking boxes.
Yeah, I think that's it. And I think sometimes maybe, and like, you know, something I do whenever you're doing gym work, it can be an easy way out of maybe doing sprint work or doing other stuff, because like, well, I'm doing the session, but it's again, how much does it actually carry over? But I think now what I'm seeing, and you probably seen it last week at the sprint course we were at, being able to sprint well is a difficult thing to do, but if you can make a massive increase in performance.
Like you see all the top, if you were to pick the top performance and whether it's GAA or rugby, anything like that, they're probably the fastest and most explosive players. Like they definitely stand out.
Definitely. I think that's something I'm trying to do a lot more of now, is do a bit more sprint work with my clients. But it's like once you go down that rabbit hole of sprint mechanics and coaching it, you realise you don't know a lot about it. Like,
yeah, you think you know until you realise.
Like chatting to your lad there last week, so me and Owen were at a speed seminar last week, and the guy taking it was really, really intelligent when it came to sprint mechanics, but some of the stuff you're just shaking your head because he's just going down all these different avenues with it that you haven't thought of, which is great from a coaching perspective, but at the same point it makes you realise that you have a lot more to do, doesn't it? Have you tried to implement any of that over the past couple of weeks?
Did a wee bit. I came in, so we had the workshop on Saturday, we had a game on Monday night, and then the big thing we were talking about the programming, even in the example of the sort of rollover stuff.
Yeah.
And then I was looking at it was like game day plus 2. I so it was the Wednesday then. I was going to have a heavy session, but I was still feeling pretty fatigued from the game, so I just went through a couple of drills, wall drills, some of the ankle dribbles, knee dribbles, and then I tried a few crying times, just for the stiff legs. But even looking at that, he was big on kneeling something before you move into that. Yeah. But even when I slowed down the video and looking at the crying times, like, right, maybe I'm not quite ready for it just yet. So take it back another step and focus on maybe skipping, that sort of thing.
It's practice and all those things, but it's just time, like it's
not getting ahead of yourself as well, and having the patience to layer it all up.
I think sometimes with that speed work you want to get into getting a sled behind you, do that,
looking at the sexy stuff.
That's it, but it's sometimes about doing the wall drill and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I thought I could sprint well, and then your man just tore me apart from my technique.
Yeah.
But it's good to see that, like, you know, it's nice to see where the holes are that you can improve on.
Definitely.
St Gall's then they won the All Ireland back in, was it like
2010?
2010?
Yeah, they were beat the final in 2006 and won 2010. Yeah.
They must be one of the Antrim teams. They were they or?
It could well be. I'm not too sure.
What was it? Do you mind much of that there?
Yeah, I remember the 2006 one was at that, but it was 7 or something. Like, I don't really remember too much. I just remember it was freezing St Paddy's Day. Yeah, it was beat 7-6 or something. Real classy game. But then in 2010, I remember it well. I was under 12 at the stage, and our team actually played half time on it.
Right.
So it was obviously a big day out.
And Croker,
yeah.
Lethal.
And played Kilmurray, Brooklyn from Clare, I think it was. And yeah, obviously won by a fair few in the end, but some crack that.
It must have been some team at that time, like.
Yeah, it's good for them still about now. Like,
is it?
Yeah, there's serious winners, like the same way they go about it.
When they chat about it, you know, what do you think was different about that team? I know you were playing, but when you hear them chatting, was it just their attitude, or was it a mix of everything?
I think it was a mix of everything. You know, the sort of I've heard stories from players at different sort of phases and that. So the players who didn't play in senior and then sort of came in, they were coming to the tail end of their career with all these new boys coming through, and then hearing the stories from all them coming up, they were all, you know, they were real good mates, like the band of brothers they would have called them, like there were sets of brothers throughout the team. Just like the serious work they did, like, and there's no doubt on real talent there as well, like.
Yeah.
Just a mix everything.
Standards have been set high for you then. That's something I found, like, in our club here in Fallonvale, we've never got to that level, but back in like the early 90s, the teams would have won like a couple of championships, and my uncle had been one of the teams, and no matter what we do, you've never won the championships, like you've never won 3 in a row or whatever it was, you just will never match up to that there. So we need to win a championship this year, basically. So you do coaching yourself in person and online. How long have you been at that now?
I've been coaching, taking sessions when I was about 15 or 16. Started off my mum was training with Eoghan Mccabe, the owner of No Limits Fitness, and then there was 1 year I just thought, okay, I want to do a bit of training, so got into sort of circuit classes, boot camp style classes, kettlebells, all that sort of stuff, with that. And then I think when it was fifth year, got into fifth year, and he was sort of saying, listen, do you want to come in, or have you thought about what you want to do? And I haven't a clue what I want to do, just knew it was something based around sport. He says, sure, if you want to come in and do sort of like an internship sort of thing. Just shadowed him for a good year, and then got the opportunity to take a few classes and been with him since. So I'm still working coaching for No Limits Fitness, and then sort of running the old performance academy on the side.
And what's the kind of goals going forward then? You think of staying coaching for the next couple of years, or what's the sort of overall
Yeah,
plans?
definitely. I'm going back to Georgetown in September next month for the Star Sports Science course. Obviously the long term aim is the more strength and conditioning route. So like just over the next sort of 10-15 years, that's eventually that I think I want to go forward towards that. But yeah, definitely still planning on getting the coaching on the side of doing a degree. Just trying to get as much experience as I can.
Yeah.
It means going away at some stage across the water, ideally trying to get to maybe Australia. Obviously the same miles ahead, so I think that's long term. The goal would be in Australia maybe by the 30 stage. So
yeah, and do you think like AFL or?
Ideally AFL. I would have been a big AFL fan. Not so much at the minute, like, but I would still follow it and still take an interest in it. But enjoy the rugby too, like, so anything sort of. Wouldn't be picky, like any sort of professional setup comes knocking, I'll jump at it, like.
Definitely, I think it's that's really the goal, like, isn't it?
Everyone gets into the strength and conditioning route. I think that is the sort of goal.
I think being part of a team too, it seems to me like whenever you've been part of a team and like that, like you'd love to be a professional athlete, probably not going to happen right now. But being able to be in the professional setup, help other professionals.
Yeah, the next best thing, like.
I think so, like, and it's like a kind of goal of mine is get working with that professional setup, because you see when you're part of a team, like I've been working with the rugby club up the road there, and just being part of the actual team and being part of the setup is great too, like you get a great buzz from it. The one-on-one coaching is brilliant, but there's something else about being in the team. I think that's
it's
really
a different
good.
sort of environment. Like, it's hard to be coaching someone. You're saying about the online stuff. It's hard to be coaching someone face to face. The buzz you get from that, but then when you take it into a team, and even though it's doing a wee bit with a few Gaelic teams, and like just because you're sort of from that sort of background yourself, it's just something different. Like it's you know what the vibe is like, and you just feel bought. I think when everyone's bought into it, like it's a real good feeling.
Definitely, and I think whenever you can actually make a plan, you see people following the plan and improving on the plan. It's a great feeling too, like especially in the team atmosphere.
It's like getting some results, like that's the biggest buzz. Like in the session, you see someone hitting the PB, but then long term, you see them, you hear the results stories, like you're buzzing with that. Like.
So you're doing sports science this year, then? You going to play with the ball for J-Town, or?
I'll try my best anyway. Yeah,
Pressure day all the way. Is that something that kind of attracted you? Jordan was playing with the football?
Yeah, I want to play. I think just want the Sigerson's a big competition, like, so you want to get involved with Sigerson. Then my dad went to St Mary's, the Rants, and he was always on about Sigerson. He was coaching St Mary's for a bit, and I would have been about the teams just when I was younger, but then watch the trainings and stuff. There was always talk about Sigerson, and then just growing up, I was like, right, I want to play Sigerson at some stage. But obviously have to go to university to play it, so
that's a fairly big part of it.
That's it, yep.
That'll be good though, being up to Jordanstown. Like, I think from being up there, it's nothing big to go and do. Being around lots of different people, meeting new people, it's a brilliant experience. Like,
looking forward to it. A wee bit nervous, but looking forward to it.
It's exciting. Like, I'm going back up now, hopefully, to do the Masters this year, and I'm excited to go back up, even though I'll only be up a couple of days a month. It's just going up, meeting new people, chatting to ones. It's brilliant, like.
Yeah, I think the connection thing too. Like there's a few guys I knew came through the sports science course, and you get the opportunity to network with people, and they pointed down different routes and introduce you to different people, and some of the opportunities you can get out of it. Like, so even obviously the education is one thing, degree is one thing, but I think even getting chatting with people and getting exposed to that sort of environment, like, can be definitely beneficial as well.
Definitely, like, and I think by the looks of it, if you look at any of the job boards for strength and conditioning, you nearly have to have some sort of degree behind you.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I was lacking. I done business at uni, so I didn't really have any solid strength and conditioning or sports science background, so I kind of have to come back now and go over it all again.
I've sort of get into that mindset of thinking, but obviously when you're going down the sort of personal training route, there's no real, like you get your level 3 and you can be the best personal trainer in the world with all the different qualifications in the world, or you could be a really good coach and maybe you're not, you might not have the qualifications or whatever, but you can still be a top class coach.
Yeah.
But I think when you're looking more towards the sort of strength and conditioning based, I think the degrees and all that comes with it is sort of it's not that it separates anyone, but it's nearly a requirement then to get into it.
I think so, and I think now because the personal training market is so saturated with people, I think if you can show that you're a good coach, but you also have the knowledge through degrees or whatever to back it up, it does separate you. And you know, like I'm sure you can name every random people just end up being a personal trainer, and I think it's good to sort of separate yourself too from that there. So yeah, that'll be good. I'll hopefully see you at J10.
Halfway.
Well, maybe halfway someday. Freshers week to make a comeback. So you're online coaching. What's that there? Are you working with just Gaelic players or anybody? Or?
Yeah, mainly Gaelic players. The online GA Performance Academy. So I have my athlete Performance Academy. I was working with Gaelic players, a few soccer players. Hurlers came through that too, and then online is the same.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically just one to take an online version of what I do in my group, the Athlete Performance Academy as well. So basically all nearly tailored around the individual, just based on sort of time of year, what their goals are, what areas they need to work on, what their current stats is like. Just like you would coach someone face to face, at all the check-ins through WhatsApp and videos and calls and that sort of thing.
So when you have someone coming in that's maybe a complete beginner, where do you start with them?
Complete beginner, obviously I start off a bit of a screening process, so jump on a call with them, get a chat, have them fill in like a sort of consultation form nearly, and just get a bit more background info, experience, any issues, what their current schedule's like, that sort of thing. And then screening process, we get a couple of main movements and say like just get a video of front, side, back view of this, and do a couple of reps of each just to see what their movement quality's like, and then just address it from there. But if any beginner that comes through, you just start real basic like and work your way through the basics. There's no point in trying to add in the complex stuff if no solid base built first. Especially when people are starting out as well, they're going to get a benefit out of anything that's sort of structured. So even if it does feel real basic, you're still going to get a benefit, and as long as you're not doing any harm and they're progressing week on week, then if the client's happy, then you're happy as a coach too. And
you know, if there's ones listening that are just starting into the gym now, what's the best advice you would give to them? Like,
be patient and start real simple. Like when I probably first jumped in, I was looking maybe 5 years ahead of where I really was, and trying to do all that math stuff, and it's really learning to squat, push, pull, hinge, carry. Like it's real simple. Even like the sort of structure I follow my sessions, so I have the most basic goblet squat, their kettlebell front squat, progressions right up to front squats, back squats, box squats, all that sort of thing. So just start real simple and go through the progressions, nail each one, a bit like go back to that sprint and stuff. That if you're not ready to move on, then make sure you nail the basics first.
I think there's a lot you can actually benefit from just doing those basics too.
Yeah, even if you've done properly, even if you are well trained, been training a couple of years, even if you go back and really intensify the basics, like it's definitely possible. Even if you fire two 28s up on the front kettlebell front squat, like it's going to be tight for anyone.
Definitely. Like I think there's, you know, learning the basics is so important, but I think you need to keep working at them too, because they're your big movements, and if you hammer away at them, even if you're advanced, you're going to still make big gains, like, and the variations of them after that there. You're doing or you have done quite a bit in social media. I think that's probably what's helped you grow your online business a lot. Do you see that just continuing to go upwards, social media stuff, or do you think after a while it's going to decline?
Interesting part at the minute actually, because I was doing obviously the Top Tip Tuesday series where I did that for a year, so I set out and started like, right, do this for a year, take it from there. And I was listening just in the podcast on the way up. I was listening to Andy Priscilla, and they were sort of saying as long as you're giving value, like obviously every post you put up you want to give value,
Mm-hmm.
but then it's sort of, there's a mixed message. Some people will be saying, right, just post say 4 or 5 times a week or post every day, but then they're taking the view that if you've nothing positive or nothing worthwhile, it's going to educate someone or help someone, then don't bother just putting it out just for the sake of it. So trying to keep everything quality and informative as possible, that's probably the best thing, rather than just sort of putting up a post just for the sake of it. But if there's a meaning behind it, it's going to help someone, then by all means fire away. Like,
yeah, I think so. And like that's one of the things I probably found over the past year was that at the start I was trying to put out a post every day, and now looking back at them, some of them were just stupid. Like they had no relevance. I was just putting out a post for the sake of it. And then whenever I actually started to like go, right, instead of posting every day, I'll maybe post 3 or 4 times, but it'll actually try and give some sort of value to it. And you find you get a much better engagement and response from that there.
Definitely,
So I do think anyone that's starting into like personal training, you're trying to get the social media to grow. I think it is, as you say, you need to try and give as much value as possible. Like that too.
Big time.
Because I think sometimes people will put up stuff, and whether it be just a random post about them working out or something, I think you have to give some sort of value to people. Sometimes people maybe put up stuff just to maybe show off what they're doing, and people can't relate to that. Like, I think that's what you've done well, is that most of the stuff you put up it's there to help other people.
Definitely, that's what we're out there to do at the end of the day, help people. Like there's no, yes, we could fire up with us doing a heavy squat or something like that, and yes, it looks good and we do it the odd time, but if you're not adding some sort of value, then it could actually go the other way, and people might see it and be like, right, throw that up and I'm over here doing something else. But we'd rather nearly circle back and give maybe a few pointers on how to, say if you're doing
how you got to that point.
You put up a heavy squat, like how do you get to that point, or a few pointers.
I think people appreciate that too, because not a lot of ones are doing it, so it's definitely a lot nicer whenever you can do that there. And is that kind of the main thing that's driving online business and the social media stuff for you?
Probably is too. Like I know Eoghan Mccabe, he's very switched on his business side of things, and he'd be like a mentor. And he's always said, like, you're not fucking promoting it enough, you're not promoting enough. Which I know myself that I'm probably not doing. But I think through the online you would get the odd sort of inquiries and stuff just out of the blue. And I've been lucky enough that there has been a good few just popping up. Which obviously we're really grateful for, like, but it's sort of like, right, okay, really drive the thing on then, and then you're sort of between focusing on giving the people that you have the best possible service, as well as trying to always bringing new people in, but you don't want to have
that balance, isn't it?
You don't want to have too many there where you're not giving them the best service. So it's just trying to find that sweet spot and always adapting and just progressing as much as you can. Like.
And you mentioned a good thing there about Dan, was it, being one of your mentors? I think it's getting a mentor being one of the most important things over the past couple of years for you.
I've been probably lucky enough that I'm around him all the time, and it nearly wasn't me going out to get a mentor, but just spending time with him. He's switched on. You see, like, he brought us we ran a competition between myself and one of the other coaches in the gym, Terry. And it was sort of members split up into 2 groups, and whoever got the best results in the challenge and the most points, there was different ways of getting points. The winner was going to San Diego with Dan for Fitness Business Summit. So just putting it around that win the challenge. Both of us ended up going, me and Terry both went along with Dan, and it was like that week it was a real eye opener of where you can actually take things, like spending that time around. You might say that's America, they're all different level, they're all mad or whatever, but he's been flying to America a couple of times a year for business stuff. He's had different mentors in America, and the stuff he's bringing back, it's clearly working for him. Like, so it's people say it only works in America, but it's the same everywhere.
Same principles apply, don't they? I think having a mentor, though, if you're getting into this industry, is probably the most important thing.
Like success age 2s too. Like the people you look at and you're like, right, what have they done? If you sort of reverse back a bit, then sort of follow in our footsteps, you can sort of learn from what they've done.
I think so, and I think it's like, even like you can read books about training or whatever it is as much as you want, and that's brilliant. I do it a lot, but you learn so much more from your own experience and other people's experience. Like that speed course last week, could really book in that, but it's a different story when you go and actually see it being done in practice. Like.
That's it, I think always the physical, seeing someone or speaking to someone, I guess you can read all you want, but if you're not putting in the practice or you're not experiencing it first hand, then it could be it's a different way of picking things up. Like I know even something simple as like I'm reading something on the screen and I did not take it in, whereas I have a physical book of highlight and stuff.
Yeah.
Then you go and see someone, it just brings it on even more. I love that, getting contact and talking face to face with someone, like it makes it so much better.
Yeah, definitely. So I put up on Instagram some Q&A questions, whole host of random ones here, but they kind of centre around pre-game, what you do in a game, and kind of your plans and goals long term. And also some boy Paddy Frail has some real weird questions here for me, which we're going to ask them all.
Should we get the mention? He'd be delighted with that now.
So the first one is who's stronger between me and you. We're going to do a workout after this here and we'll find out. I think if we're going lower body, we might have me. So we're going to do an upper body session today.
Austin's just bench and curls, so I think he has upper body.
I'm going upper body all day. We're doing upper body work right here.
Suits me.
So next one is on your diet. You chatted there about your diet maybe wasn't the best at times.
Yeah.
Have you improved that, or will you?
Definitely, yeah. It's the case of knowing what you should be doing, but not fucking doing it. Like
Yeah.
you know, you tell your clients, right, and they all understand, right? Okay, this is what I have to do, and it's just been a case of doing it. Like I put my hands up, I was completely guilty of that myself. I've worked in the past with a couple of nutritionists, Conor O'Neill, know yourself nutrition, and then Chris Lowe. You worked with Chris as well, and Chris was unbelievable. So I learned a lot from both of them. So it's basically just going back and implementing what you learned, and it's all well and good learning everything, but if you're not implementing it and not looking after it, then it's probably there's no point in it really. Like, but yeah, basically it'd be the same as anyone. It would track the calories. Probably just the guide that we took from Chris. It was have your high days, have your low days. Obviously, base it around your training schedule. If you have a heavy training day, eat a little more calories and up the carb intake. And then your lower days, you can dial it back a wee bit because you're not as active. And then come the match days, you're carving up a day or two in advance. High carb days day before and the match day, and then maybe recover a wee bit lower the next day as well.
So whenever you're doing your high carb days, day out, 2 days out, what percentage of your macros would you have that at, or do you just kind of eyeball it yourself?
So we go between 6 to 10 grams of carbs per kilo of body weight. So the next day it was going off at 6, so I was having about 480 to 500 grams carbs.
And that's 2 days up to the game, is it?
So about 36 hours, so probably your last meet, depending on what time the game was at. So if it was a 3 o'clock throw, and you would start maybe the night before, the day before, so 2 days out. But then I was chatting to a girl, Sarah Conley, and Sarah Conley Performance, I think she's on Instagram. She was saying try like 2 higher carb days the day before, just obviously staying within the calories so you're not going over. She said I started trying out the 2 days before, which seemed to be working pretty well, going for the higher limit too. So I was going for maybe instead of the 6 grams, I was going up to 8 grams, doing it over 2 days, so I'm not feeling sort of bloated or feeling too full going into the game. So yeah, between that sort of 6 to 8 grams per kilo, this found was working pretty well. Yeah,
and you felt actually benefit from the carb loading compared to not doing?
Big time.
And what's your usual kind of day of a game? What's your usual kind of daily time do you usually play at?
It could range, so talking maybe 3 in the afternoon, 5, 7, and midweek games we're playing at 8 o'clock.
So like a 3 o'clock game, what would be the day of eating for you?
So Chris always said about the 6 hour countdown, but I sort of adapted it myself just to what suited me. So I would go off like a 7 hour countdown. So 3 o'clock, maybe 7, 3, 6, 7 in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. Miles never strong for it. So yeah, we'd have 7 hours in anyway. I'd have probably have a couple of meals. So I'd be talking maybe your oats, maybe toast, scrambled eggs, porridge, maybe 7 hours. Then we'd go to maybe 3 to 4 hours out, have a bit of a snack, maybe a bit of toast again, a couple of rice cakes, bananas, something like that. And then maybe maybe 2 hours out, something very small again. Love the Rice Krispie bars. Cup of coffee, and then just water, maybe another coffee or a bit of caffeine before half an hour, 45 minutes to an hour before the game. And then just recovering after the game, try get a big meal in at some stage. Within an hour, maybe, or 2 hours after the game.
Big chili?
I'm checking it. Maybe a pizza, talking more pizza after
Good
the game.
carbs, good carbs. And then again, would you take any supplements? Like, would you take any like caffeine gum, any alanine, creatine, anything like that?
We take creatine every day, yeah, so just 5 grams creatine a day, one scoop. We take protein now and again, but it's mostly in the porridge or in a smoothie or something like that. And then just if I'm not near my sort of protein targets, trying to get the 2 grams per kilo in of protein. That's just to sort of bump it up. I would try to get it from food as much as possible, but that and creatine is really vitamin D. That's really it. Like
Coffee else too.
Coffee, and then I had tried the caffeine gums out there. I think they're quality. Like I must actually get more than they do around me. Good stuff.
The caffeine gum is good. My caffeine tolerance is shot at this point. Like,
I think it's more a mental thing, because I was actually reading something that was saying like I was always the one that okay, I'm getting used to this caffeine, but it's actually there's studies done. I'm not sure how like reliable they are, but there's studies done to say that caffeine intolerance isn't really a thing.
Really?
It might just be in your head. You're thinking, right, I'm having a coffee every day, maybe it's not doing the same, so I need more. But again, if it's in your head, then like that's what you're seeing. The same way something might work positively. If you think something's bad, then it could be bad too. So I know what you mean. Like I was having a coffee and then pouring 2 of those chewing gums into me, like.
So you're telling me it's still good to get the coffee and
that's
chewing gum every day.
1 coffee, 2 caffeine gums, you're fine.
You're bouncing. I was giving it to a few other boys in the team too, like the caffeine gum, and they were loving it. Like,
Good stuff.
but I do think sometimes like a lot of them it's maybe a wee bit of placebo too, isn't it?
But listen, if you're getting the benefit from it and it is placebo, then it's still working, then it's doing no harm, like, so far away.
I do think with a lot of them things, like I don't think this means just because you guys chat
I do quite
caffeine gum in
yeah.
But test it out. You know, if you're interested in trying to test it out before training, and that could be the case for any supplement. Like, you know, test it out. Don't do it before your championship game and then end up
Funny story about that.
jittering. Right.
So I started on the beetroot juice.
Alright.
So trial that out before the last year's championship, and so it's beetroot juice. Did a lot. I tried it before training, grand. Then obviously match day, championship day. You know, you get the nerves start kicking in a wee bit, butterflies come in, and then it was another part of the plan was 10 grams of creatine for like the cognitive sort of side of things. Just maybe if you didn't sleep that well, it can sort of can boost the mindset, like the mind a wee bit, and feel right. Okay, I'm not actually that tired. So the 10 grams of creatine mixed with the water, mixed with the beetroot juice, mixed with the carb load, just. You can imagine what's going on in the stomach there. So right before the game, half time, and then midway through the second half, I was like, yo, blood's up.
That is not good. That's a good example of testing it out.
Triple change midway through your first championship game. Manager wasn't too happy with me.
Beetroot juice is a killer.
I don't think it was the beetroot juice, but I haven't gone near it since.
So you know what? I got some of the beetroot shots.
Yeah, the beetroot shots. Yeah.
I felt the same thing. My stomach it didn't feel good. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe it's a combination of your carb loading so much and everything's just there's a whole mix of shit in your stomach. But I haven't taken them since either. Like.
Nah, it completely put me off. Like, I know there's definitely research to show the benefits of it, but if that's gonna happen, then I think
it's
I'll
great to
stay away from
a real life example for it there.
Teach me a lesson anyway.
Aye, definitely. Beetroot juice shots sales may have just dipped here after this year.
Don't answer the brand.
And chatting about nerves there, it was one of the questions, like, how do you handle the nerves before a game? I'm sure you've been in a couple of big games now over the past couple of years.
I don't know, you're gonna get them anyway. It's just sort of channeling it in the right way. So I think there's not really much you can just control the controllables really, as best you can. Like, ideally you should have the work done. You know, if good sleep, you're hydrated, you're well fueled up. It's just a case of coming out and performing and doing your job. I think if you look too much into it or think too much into it, it could be nearly a negative thing. But I try to, like, in the past I used to have like the mad pump up music, and then just to sort of realise, right, okay, when I was doing that and the performances weren't great, so sort of try a few things, and what works well, like just listening to a wee bit of like chilled out music you would listen to every day, just gets you feeling good and in a good mood. That's definitely one way of helping me, like, but I think just not overthinking it and having the confidence that you're good enough to be there, like, and
you've done the work,
then that's.
I think it's just managing that hype too, because you can get too hyped for it. it's just trying to find that optimal level. But I think that's nearly experience more than anything.
Yeah, probably is too.
It takes a bit of time getting to that point. But
there's definitely times it gets the better of you, but I think just the more you expose yourself to it as well, and the sort of easier it nearly gets.
Definitely.
The more used to it you get anyway.
I think, you know, when you go into a game, like that's one of the things I think this year that I've tried to do is you just go on with a certain set of goals. Like for me, playing midfield, it might be try and get X amount of kickouts in a game, try and get up a pitch this many times, and just focus on hitting in goals. And I think when you break it down into those wee sub-components, it can make it a wee bit, doesn't make it as overwhelming for you sometimes. You know, when thinking you have to do everything.
Definitely
helps. That's in the past.
The thing we've been asked is like set a target, 2 targets before each game. You know, you're obviously trying your best to work with that, and you're trying to fit it into your role on the pitch. At the same time, if something goes tits up and you mess something up, you head a bad way, it's like right and done. We can draw a line over it. Like there's no point in dwelling on it.
Definitely. And after the game, next day, are you doing any type of recovery workout, or is it just get on with what you usually do?
Depends how I'm feeling really. It's just if I'm feeling alright, I might push it out a wee bit, but most of the time I think I generally do be pretty sore after a game. So I'll go for a walk, or I'll try and get a good feed in me, get a good night's sleep anyway. And I do like getting out for a walk just to get out and get the legs moving. But I probably wouldn't be touching any main sort of training until 2 days anyway later.
It's just
it'll probably not be a heavy session either. Like it'll be just get out again if you feel good, push out a wee bit, but I'm not just going to go through it just for the sake of taking off a session.
I think that's an important thing. Like it's trying to be as fresh as possible for the end of the week again. And you can't keep smashing yourself every day.
Your priority is being on the pitch and performing well, so you may as well gear everything towards that.
Whenever you're chatting about on the pitch, like what do you think is the most important attributes that a Gaelic player needs now?
Definitely football. The game's won by scoring more than your opponent. Like so, obviously the football skills obviously priority. But I think apart from that, the ability to get up down the pitch and speed. You know, if you had to ask maybe 5 to 10 years ago, it was about being big and hitting people and not being able to push off the ball. But everything really goes in the full circle again. It's more athletic based, getting up down the pitch. So just with the way formations go and stuff, everyone's attacking, everyone's defending up and down games. So you have to be able to move, you have to be strong enough, you have to be able to withstand the contact or whatever. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to kick the ball, catch the ball, put the ball in the bar.
If you don't have the basic skills, doesn't matter how good an athlete you are, does it? And with Antrim now going forward, I think Antrim and Derry kind of in a similar position, hopefully going on an upward trajectory. What do you think the future of Antrim football is going to be like over the next couple of years?
There's definitely been a lot of changes and a good few positive changes too. Hopefully you will be looking to progress. Obviously, I think Antrim should be a competitive, probably Division 2 team. I'm not going to say they're going to be the best team in Ireland, but if you look at where they're at now, I think even for top Division 3, competing in Division 2 should be a realistic approach looking over maybe the next 5 years. And I think just it has to get a bit better. Like I don't think there's any lower you can go over the past few years. Like that's up to has to be sort of player led too. Like and come from within. Like it's easy to sit back and look at things and judge things when you're not really there. But obviously there's no doubt there's work going on in the background, and it's not a case of they're not there because they're not working, because they are doing the work. So hopefully, I'm not exactly sure. I wouldn't be experienced enough to speak about it, but I'd say whatever they are doing, it's definitely have seen improvements the past couple of years. And hopefully it can keep on through.
Hopefully it keeps on going that way. And is Casement going to be built anytime soon, or what's the crack here?
God knows.
No one seems to know what that is.
Flip my coin, see what happens. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I think it does need to be getting sorted out. There was some sort of development, but at this rate I've stopped following it. Obviously I want it built, and I'm all for it being built, but it's dragged on too long where I wouldn't know what to believe.
You hear bits and pieces of it, but it's a bit mental that it's just sitting there. Such a waste.
You can see, if you're looking at my bedroom window, you can see the floodlights. You can see a wee bit of the stand, and it's just if you want to, you can wake up every morning and look at it. And I can remember the last game played on it was one of the last games anyway. Was Chance of Fairness, Goals and maybe Goals and Stones maybe. But it was one of the championships anyway, and there's it's hard to beat going casement on a Friday, Saturday night when there's a big game on. Like, and you know, I've even been to matches where Antrim played Tyrone and down the Tyrone were playing. Like, there was big crowds, the place was buzzing. Like, it was packed out in a warm summer's day. It was hard to beat. But yeah, it's sad to see. Like,
disappointing, like, but I suppose like anything, you just hope the next couple of years it'll get sorted. But it's so many things you have to go through.
Out of my control anyway. There's nothing I can do for it.
Unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. So when the season ends, what's the kind of off-season plans, do you think, for yourself?
I'd probably like to try something different. I was actually chatting to, I can't remember who I was chatting to, but I was thinking something along the lines of maybe some sort of jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. One of my friends is doing a bit of it at the minute, and just something completely different. I've heard other boys trying it, and they've heard good reports of it.
Yeah.
If we get an off-season, that'd be great. Just the past, maybe you know, you come out of one team, you go into another team, so.
Maybe going to the Georgetown goal.
Yeah, plus it's still club under 21 to play at the end of the year as well. So
you find that difficult, you know, balancing all the different teams you're in.
At times, yeah, but thankfully enough, most of the managers been good enough with it. Like, they understand the, like, I think it's becoming, like, player welfare is becoming a bigger thing. Like, and the understanding that yeah, you can't be out playing 4 games a week and training twice a day and all the rest of it. But luckily enough, my manager's been pretty understanding, pretty good with it. Like, so you get the rest when you need it.
Is there ever times when you're just like couldn't be arsed to play?
Yeah, all the time. Start of the year I sort of got to that point. You go through ups and downs, and like, probably if you had asked me a couple of months ago, I'd be like, right, fuck this, could be annoying. Sit down before training, you're like, nah, don't really fancy it. But it sort of comes and goes, and like you always say you want a break, and then you get a break, and after 2 weeks you're like, right, I want to get back at it. Like, so. But if there's times you need to maybe take a week off or something like that, then go for it, as long as you're not looking after it and doing it 5 times a year.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I think as you say, you will always get times when you just couldn't be arsed to play. But like, as a good example, he said there, we had a break for a couple of weeks, and before it was like, football's every weekend, you can't do anything, and then whenever it's gone, you're like, fuck, what am I playing about here? It's funny how it goes, but I think, you know, probably whenever you get more into like your own business and stuff, it's hard to balance it all. Like, and I'm sure you're probably finding that now too. You know, it's trying to get that balance between it is a difficult thing.
That's the thing. I probably took, you know, last year I was taking a lot more sessions than what I'm taking at the minute.
Yeah.
And then just with the different commitments and stuff, I had to sort of cut back in the working hours, because of the gym business too. Like, other people work during the day, so it'd be great if people could come on to you during the day, but it's not the reality of it, it's not the way it is. So like, most of our work's early mornings and evenings, but again you're training evenings, so it's like sort of prioritising, which there's no point in coming up with an excuse that I don't have time, but you can make time now, so it's just put the priority of what you really want to focus on first.
Definitely. And like the longer term goals now you're chatting about in terms of coaching, you're looking to get into a professional setup at some point. Any long term goals of, you know, playing consistently with Antrim or opening up your own place, anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. I think more football based. I definitely want to get back in Antrim. Whether that be next year or the year after, I don't know, see what happens, but I think I've a bit more development to do anyway. I think when I went in, I probably wasn't up to scratch. I was playing well with the club and stuff, but I think I just maybe went a wee bit too early. But I think I probably wasn't ready for it physically, or maybe even like mentally. Just I wasn't probably mature enough for it. For the whole lifestyle thing. But I think we've definitely learned lessons from it and worked on whatever I needed to work on. So hopefully I can get another crack at that at some stage and consistently long term get a couple of years under the belt, good run on it. Opening my own place, I don't really, at the minute I don't think it's really for me, but not to say I never will, but just I don't really see it at the minute, but I think just continue to develop and maybe bring on my own brand, and still
keep
learning. No Limits Fitness as well. I keep learning, plenty more learning to do, and there's no point in, I don't, for myself anyway, I don't want to jump into anything too soon when I've plenty more development to do, so just keep the ball moving.
I think that's one of the things you can't find too. Once you do go and do something like that, you're a wee bit kind of stuck to. You know, like, I have the place here and it's like, I love it, but it's not as easy to go away, it's not as easy to do things like that now. So it's one of the things that I don't regret it, but you know, at times you do kind of be like, if I want to go away and go somewhere now, it's just not as straightforward.
That's the thing. I do want to get away, get a bit of travelling done. Maybe I mean spend a few summers in the States, or maybe Australia's always been on the bucket list. Thailand, you've done Thailand this year, I've done Real, so Thailand, Australia, and then there, America. I've only been to America twice, and once I was maybe about 5, can't remember it. And then I was only there for 6 days the last time I went, and so definitely want to get to see more of that place. Definitely,
maybe play with the ball in the summer.
I'll see what happens.
See what happens. So one of the questions, or a couple of questions, was about drinking, drink bans, all that kind of shit. You don't drink at all, am I? Sure.
No, I never. I mean, lots of stuff.
Are you like before a game? Are you a couple of weeks out you're stopping, or do you try and keep a balance with it, or what's your thoughts on that?
Personally, I would like to have a bit of a cut-off point, like a 2-week cut-off point. It's not ripping the arse out of it. Like I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm a fan of drink bans, because I think it's hard to police. A couple of boys might go out and go on the piss for a couple of days, and they might not put anything anywhere. Like I think with social media and all that, it's easy to catch people out, but at the same time, people go out and go on the drink and nothing can be said because nobody knows. But then it's just too hard to police. But I think if everyone's bought in and everyone understands, right, just don't rip the arse out of it, then it can be no problem. But yeah, I don't go on it often, but probably rip the arse out of it.
Has to be done. Has to be done. Paddy Frill, some lad asked me about 20 questions. I don't know what she's been up to in Ibiza, but it must have been fucking dodgy. Hey,
he wasn't even in Ibiza, so thank God he wasn't in Ibiza.
Stories must have been passed through. I would ask you about someone here, but I don't know if it's PG enough.
I'll skip that.
You had a good time anyway.
I enjoyed myself. Yeah.
That's all the Q&A questions. I think we covered a good range of topics there for Gaelic players, hurlers, whatever it is. I really enjoyed that too. It's a little full hour we done there.
Good.
Anything else you want to put in? Where can people contact you, find out about the online programming?
So I'm on Facebook at EMC Performance Academy, and I'm on Instagram, Eoghan Mccabe 11, I think it is. Basically they're my 2 main ones. Just give me a follow or drop a message, and I'll be happy to get back to you.
Yeah, definitely. Like I've been able to spend a bit of time with Eoghan. Eoghan's definitely a top quality coach, so if you're interested in coaching area in Belfast there, give him a shout, he's definitely very passionate and knowledgeable about what he does. So yeah, that'll wrap it up. Thanks for listening. Again, really appreciate if you can share this around and we can keep it growing, get more guests on, but hope you enjoyed that one today, and thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Good man. Cheers.
Thanks. It was good.
It was a good one. Enjoyed that.
It's good.
Just flowed really well too.
I think that's a big thing.
I'm used to talking shit, so I can
it's a skill, isn't it?